Hey everyone, it's Jason. Welcome to another Power Rangers Heroes of the Grid unboxing. These are for two separate videos, but we're going to go through both of the two new sets that came out, the RPM Ranger Pack and the brand new Arsenal Pack, which adds an assortment of Rangers. The reason why I'm just bringing them up both at the same time is because if during the pre-order, you got an extra coin and the Forever Red Pack. So I'm going to go over this in both videos. Just because in case you only watch one or the other, you'll just see both. If you watch both, you'll just have to listen to me. But those will be at the end of each video. If you did not pre-order them, they will both be available. Eventually, well, the deck will. I can't say for sure about the Mega Coin. But the Forever Red Pack will be available later on the Renegade Game Studios website. So keep an eye out for it if it's something you're going to be interested in. Alright, so we are going to go ahead and hop into this. So we're going to look at the RPM Ranger Pack. This ended up being one of my favorite seasons. I grew up watching Mighty Morphin as it came out. Around the time it came out, I watched all that. Watched through Zeo, through Turbo. And I kind of started I got out of it once Space started to hit. And I kind of lost it. And I picked it up here and there. Caught some stuff here and there. I know after that was quite a while. And I really got back into it during Ninja Storm and eventually into Megaforce. I loved those series. And I started going back and I got to rewatch all of these. I was surprised by some of these the middle ones that I actually ended up loving a lot. This, Operation Overdrive, and SPD were some of my favorites. So I'm really happy we finally got this. So if you also remember one of our previous videos, we had the Hero Ally Pack number 3, 4, one of them, which we actually had Dr. K, who's part of this team. So we got a little preview of them. So we're going to go ahead and hop in this. We got our 4 main characters. Expand with the Arsenal Pack, which we just kind of mentioned. Alright, so we're going to jump in. These are just the normal fare for going through this. We got our instructions here, which says, in another dimension where robots are threatening humanity, the RPM Rangers are the last hope to protect the world against evil. Suit up as the heroes of Corinth, as the derelict Scott Truman, the stalwart Scotsman Flynn McAllister, the wealthy Harris Summer Lansdowne, the quick-thinking rogue Ziggy Grover, and the mysterious loner Dylan. In the near future of an alternate universe, the Ranger operators are an elite group of civilians in advanced biosuits chosen by Dr. K's Ranger program to operate biohardware vehicles and weapons against the foes of humanity. When the situation is desperate, all hope seems lost. It's time for the Power Rangers RPM to go into overdrive. Yeah, so these guys are very interesting because they're called, the show is the RPM Rangers. They very much have a vehicle. It's a vehicle set like turbo and stuff like that. They have their uniforms who look like seatbelts, which is really neat. Their vehicles, though, are kind of animals. They play a lot of tongue-in-cheek on some of the different stuff, like they mentioned their costumes being made of spandex, or maybe kind of break the fourth wallish a little bit here and there, which is really fun. But yeah, it's a really interesting series. And it's kind of where the Power Rangers are sort of always at odds. But yeah, it's also interesting because they're not listed as normally the Mighty Morphin Rangers are listed on the cards as Mighty Morphin. Dino Thunder listed as Dino Thunder Rangers. These guys are Ranger operators, series whatever color. So they're not RPM Ranger this, RPM Blue, RPM Red. So it's kind of an interesting thing. We will get our Megazord cards, and integrating them is pretty easy. A couple other rules that we'll get to when we get to those characters about leaving joining battles and removing cards. But I'd like to just go ahead and jump into each one. Let's look at some of our miniatures first. Oh, and that one's not going to hold it. I got to grab my other miniature holder. These guys' bases are just a little bit too big. Sorry for that. Alright, so first up, we're going to look at our Red Ranger. So I'm going to show a picture here. We got Scott Truman, Operator Series Red. So here is his miniature. Definitely really cool all the time. I love his big giant sword. You see the big giant 1 on his chest. They're listed 1 through 5. Again, they're that mixture between vehicle and animals for their Zords and their theming, because I like the seatbelts on them. They have, you can't really tell it as well on the miniature as well, but if you look at like his wrists, he has tires around his wrists. And they do use them at some point to like gain speed boost. But then his like side of his helmet has wheels, which I believe each one is different. Has like a different like hubcap design for the ears, which matches their wheels of their Zords. But then each helmet goes with their Zords as well. And each number fits with their thing. So he's got like an eagle motif as well. This is very interesting. Cool. So let's go ahead and look at his deck of cards. So we're gonna flip this down a little bit. So we have Scott Truman here, Operator Series, Ranger Operator Series Reg, Assault Burst. Once per battle, before rolling a die for an attack, you may add 3 dice to that attack. Skip the next Ranger turn this battle. So that's kind of cool, right? So basically you can almost take like 2 attacks at once. This might work really well as something that can like do damage to multiple things, or spread the damage around, because then you can actually hit multiple guys at once. Or if you really just need to take down that villain, you don't have to worry about taking their next card right away. But remember, then you're gonna skip one, so you're gonna hit 2 villain cards right in a row. But the fact is, if maybe you can take out 1 or 2 in a row ahead of time with this giant extra attack, it can be very strategic on how it gets used. Alright, he has his 2 copies of his 1-shielded attack sequence, a Mustang. Kind of is using his Zord, a little Mustang extra vehicle. So this is a reaction. Costs X. Play this card at the start of any enemy turn in battle. For each energy spent to play this card, reduce all damage dealt to the Rangers by 1 until the end of this turn. So that's a very neat way to shield. We've had shields that have blocked 3 or redirect the damage. This is what you go ahead and play this, and however much you can afford to spend is how much you can absorb. And against some of them bosses where they can do like 3, 4, 5 damage, this could definitely be very helpful. He's got 2 copies of Condor Strike and also an X attack. 2 shields. Does 2 dice worth of damage. Deal 1 damage to a number of enemy cards other than the target equal to the amount of energy spent to play this card. So this is kind of neat. So you're going to get to do 2 dice normally, and then you can spend X number of energy to do additional damage to another target. So this can even work well with his regular ability if you had to, because you now roll 5 dice for this attack, and then pay any amount of energy to do X number to something else to make sure you finish off the next card that would go in line. I can take out this one, take out the next one, didn't matter that I skipped my turn. That's pretty cool. Got 2 copies of Redline Slash, 0 cost attack for 2 dice with 2 shields. There's no energy in the shared pool, add 1 die to this attack. Just again kind of works with his last card there. You spend that energy, also now this gets a little bit more powerful. 2 copies of Rev the Engines, which is a maneuver and 3 shields, gain 1 energy. The next time any ranger performs an attack this battle, add 2 dice to that attack. So you can see he's all about adding extra dice to your attacks, which most Red Rangers do. So that works pretty cool. Then he has his signature weapon, the Street Saber Strike. 3 cost for 3 shields, and does 3 dice for the attack. Before rolling, if any effects add dice to this attack, you may choose one of those effects and apply it in additional time. That's pretty cool, right? For rolling any effects that add dice to this attack, you may choose one of those effects in that. So, and I like because you could have multiple things adding dice. You could have another reaction card, maneuver card. You could have had a previous attack card, a ranger card, a Zord card. But that's cool. Like, even, again, imagine using it with this, right? So once per battle, before rolling the dice, you can add 3 dice to the attack and add units. Now you're rolling 9 dice. That can take out a boss. Who cares if you're skipping the next turn if you defeat the boss, right? So that's pretty cool. And then the final one is we have the team card, which is the Nitro Blaster. Costs X, does 3 dice worth of attack, has 1 shield. You may divide the damage for this attack among number of targets equal to the amount of energy spent to play this card. Yes, again, not bad. I'll roll 3 dice and divide it. Again, if you use this ability, that could be pretty sweet as well. Awesome. So we'll have to see how well he works with everybody else. Obviously, they're a team. They generally work pretty well together. I'm going to zoom back out just a tidbit here. So now we have the Eagle Racer Operator Series Reg Zord. It says, exhaust this card when a ranger performs an attack. That ranger may add 1 die to the attack and ignore guard keyword when choosing a target for that attack. Cool. Extra die, and the fact you can ignore guard is really cool. I mean, I definitely didn't just see where they have the car motif plus the animal, so the front of it. A big, giant, comical animal as opposed to, like, looking just like an animal. Which is really cool. He's got a big engine and everything, too. But yeah, this is pretty... almost looks like he should be talking to you. Which they might not in this series, but the Sentai Japanese series, they may have been talking vehicles. Yeah, also, you know, ignore card effects is really cool. Alright, we're going to jump into Ranger number 2, which is our Blue Ranger. So we'll throw up this card here. We have Flynn McAllister. You just see him. There, he's got a big, giant, massive gun. So he does have his chest covered up, so you can't really see the 2 on his chest. But I believe, yeah, he is the lion. His helmet's a little bit more boxy. Yeah, he's a big, giant, massive gun. There's his nitro pistol. That's one thing I always love about this game is I love all the different weapons they pull out for each character. One of my favorite things. Alright, so he has Time Burst. Once per battle, after any ranger turn in battle, when the rangers play exactly 1 card, they may take an additional turn. During that turn, rangers may only play maneuver cards. So yeah, this is kind of neat, because you have stuff where you can combine, play maneuvers, play reactions, boost stuff up, you can get all this stuff. This is kind of neat, because it lets anything sort of let you do that effect, right? So he can, yeah, he only play 1 card, you can take an additional turn. So it kind of works almost somewhat the opposite of Scott's Assault Burst. Adds an extra attack but makes you skip a turn. Here it lets you take an additional turn, but you can only play maneuver cards, so you're not getting an additional attack. But some of the maneuvers will let you play an additional 2 or 3 cards as well. So this could be very helpful to, like, play 1 card that does some decent damage and sets some stuff up, and then use this to, like, or if that attack failed, let this use it to catch up on that. Oh crap, that attack, we rolled 4 dice and we biffed it. So now we can play this to, like, gain that turn back. So it's kind of a neat little effect there. Alright, he's got 2 copies. I'm going to zoom in a bit. Highland Strike. Attack for 2 damage. It does have the star in there. I love the star coming back. Usually on blue cards, but I love when they put it on other characters as well. 2 shields. It says, or if this attack is revealed for defense, you may add it to your hand instead of placing it at the bottom of your deck or discarding it. Yeah, 2 straight up damage, and you can potentially get this card back. 2 copies of I'm Scottish. One of his big catchphrases. Nobody says it too much enough to be a catchphrase, but it is memorable at least. 1 cost maneuver of the star and 2 defense. Deal 2 damage to an enemy card of your choice. Deal +1 damage to that card if it is already resolved. So that's kind of neat. You can, like, do some extra damage if you're taking out someone that's Sometimes you just get rid of that old card, right? I'm not going to defeat a newer guy. Let me at least take out this guy so I have to deal with that. If this card is revealed for defense, you may add it to your hand instead of placing it on the bottom of your deck or discarding it. So that's just going to keep letting him get his cards back. 2 copies of Push the Limit. A maneuver for 0, 2 shields. Gain 2 energy, another ranger may perform an attack with 2 dice. So this, again, could work very well with his ability, right? You played 1 card, did something. Now you can play this to gain 2 energy. And now you may perform an attack with 2 dice. You get an extra 2 dice attack and 2 energy. Sets you up for your next turn. Cool. I love this one. We have 2 copies of Weaponized Morph. This is one of the tongue-in-cheeky, fourth wall-breaking things they did. They realized that when they morph, they create explosions. So they used that at least twice, I think, if not more, to like morph in a group of enemies, so that way their transformation morph, when the fireballs and sparks go up behind them, it blows up enemies. I love that. It's a little kind of tongue-in-cheeky thing. X cost maneuver with 2 shields. Gain 2 energy, deal 1 damage to a number of enemies equal to the amount of energy spent to play this card. So that's pretty nice. You just spread out your damage. You get 2 energy right off the bat. So even basically, I mean, you play this, you're going to gain 2 extra although you had to spend that energy ahead of time. Knowing that you're going to get 2 back is very helpful. Alright, his special weapon here is the Turbo Cannon. 3 cost for 3 shields, attack with 5 dice. After resolve this attack, any ranger may immediately play 1 maneuver card. Yeah, so this one wouldn't work with his ability, because he would have played a second card. But imagine teaming this up with Red Ranger's Assault, right? All of a sudden you're skipping, but you're getting 3 extra dice. Now you're rolling 8 dice instead. And then you also get a maneuver card, which then imagine playing that maneuver with, like this maneuver, dealing 2 extra damage, possibly 3. So you can actually go and finish off someone that didn't get finished. Or with this one, gain 2 more energy, and then now you can do an extra 2 dice to do something else. So yeah, you got some fun options there, which is really cool. And then he has his Nitro Blaster. Which works the same as the other ones. Alright, then his vehicle is the Lion Hauler, the big old lion face. Kind of like a van hauler type vehicle. Exhaust this card when any ranger plays a maneuver card, gain 1 energy. That ranger may place that card on top of their deck instead of discarding it. That's actually really cool as well, right? Being able to like being able to save your maneuver card. You play a maneuver, all of a sudden, hey, now you have it back in your hand. Not in your hand, in your deck. Works as extra defense. You can set some good defense that way. Works well with some of his cards because you could play them and then the little star on them. You then put it back on there for defense. Plus gaining an energy. So very, very cool. Alright, our next ranger is Yellow Ranger here. Yellow is kind of hard to see on here sometimes. We have Summer Lansdowne, Operator Series Yellow. Yeah, so she's got the 3. She's got her little weapon in her hand. Like she's kind of doing like almost a charge. Instead of like she's running to do something. I think she's kind of the speedy one. I want to say her thing's a cheetah. It's a bear. I'm sorry, it's a bear. Cool. Let's go ahead and look at her cards. Yeah, yellow ones are kind of hard to catch the details on in my camera, so I apologize for that. Alright, but there she is. She's got energy burst. Now, I noticed all 3 of them have a burst effect. Which is kind of neat, because they kind of work as a little team. So we have once per battle, any ranger spends at least 3 energy to play a card. You may deal 1 damage to an enemy card of your choice. So this isn't going to hit as often as the rest, but everyone's signature weapons 3 energy. Plus, these guys have a lot of their Nitro Blasters. Plus, there's some other cards in here that pay for X. X to do stuff, so you're going to even pay up to 3. Hey, you're going to spend it anyhow. You may as well have 1 damage to an enemy card of your choice for a free extra point. Now you could be like, argue, one character lets you play 3 dice versus hers does 1 damage. 3 dice could potentially be more, because you could get doubles on each one of them doing potentially 6 damage, but you could also get 3 misses as well. This is always a guaranteed 1, so potentially a lot of damage versus a guaranteed 1 damage. It's kind of an interesting trade-off. Alright, let's look at her card. She's going to start with 2 copies of Flare Kick. So this is 0 cost with 2 shields, attack for 1 dice and 1 damage. Gain any amount of energy equal to the number of hit results rolled during this attack. So 1 or 2, 0, 1 or 2 possibly. But again, if you add extra dice to this, you could gain some good extra energy. These guys work really well. The 3 of them I think are going to work really well as a good team of like boosting one with dice, giving energy back to the other, use energy to spend on the other card to do some other effects. Be really good there. We have 2 copies of Loaded Strike. 0 cost, 2 shield for attack with 2 dice. If there's at least 4 energy in the share pool, add 1 die to this attack. So Red Ranger had an attack if there was no energy. She gains some if there is energy. So you can use the Blue Ranger gains a bunch of energy, use him to boost up energy. Yellow Ranger's going to use that to spend a bunch of it, or bonuses of having that energy. And then Red Ranger can bonus off of not having that energy anymore once you spent it. It's just kind of a neat little cycle in between them. We have 2 copies of Stunt Rider. Reaction. 1 cost, 1 shield. Play this card when any ranger suffers damage. Reduce that damage by 2. The next time any ranger performs an attack this battle, they may divide any number hits amongst any number of targets. That's fun. A defense card that also then lets you do extra damage. Not extra, but split your damage. That's pretty sweet. 2 copies of Power Surge. So X cost maneuver with 3 shields. Gain any amount of energy equal to twice the amount of energy spent to play this card, max of 5. So that's pretty cool. Build up your energy. Gain amount of equal to twice the amount of energy. So basically, yeah, you're just spend as much energy as you can, up to 5, and gain a bunch of extra. Then now you can turn around and use that on some of your other X cards. That's pretty neat. Cool. Her signature weapon is the Zip Charger. 3 cost, 3 shield, maneuver. Place this card on your character card. Until the end of this battle, when a ranger spends energy, place 1 energy token on this card. Discard this card at the start of a ranger turn to deal 2 damage to an enemy card, plus 1 for every token on this card. So again, works really neat. This is kind of a neat little effect. She gets to store energy on this card. And then you can use it to just do an extra free attack, basically. Discard at the start of a turn. Get 2 damage plus 1. So even if you don't even do anything with it, at bare minimum it's a 2-hit. But then it's also an extra 1 for every token. And now imagine, right, you spent something like this, you spent 4, you got 8 energy, then you spent some of that energy on some other attacks. So every time you spend it, so you spent 8 energy, you're not going to put 8 on, you're going to only put 1 on each on there, so it's going to take a couple of turns, but if you keep gaining energy from these other cards, that can be pretty cool. Alright, then we have Nitro Blaster again. Alright, then her vehicle is the Bear Crawler. Big old, monster truck looking thing. Exhaust this card when there's at least 5 energy in the share pool to gain 3 energy. So again, could be very limited on how often you get to use it, but when you get to, it's going to be very powerful. You can save up energy. You get 5, boom, all of a sudden you can spend this, now you have 8. That's going to, right there, now you're going to be able to spend 2 signature attacks or something like Nitro Blast. This becomes so much more powerful. All of a sudden, if you spend, you need to spend 8. But if you just gain an extra 3 and you spend 3 on it, right there, you already got 3. You still got your 5 extra to spend. So that's pretty cool. Alright, so what also was interesting about the way this series worked was the red, blue, and yellow rangers, so generally the core rangers, started off kind of together, and then later on the green and black, who were kind of not really like friends, but ended up becoming unlikely acquaintances, ended up becoming rangers later on. Like, I know it's a couple, like, episode or 2 in, not like halfway through the season or anything, but they weren't part of the initial ranger team. Like, the other guys were kind of already supposed to be like, hey, we've been rangers for a bit, and then these guys joined. So they play a little bit differently. They don't play necessarily as much into the group, I don't think. We'll see how well they work. We're going to start with Ziggy Grover, the Green Ranger. Also interesting, though, because you have a green and a black ranger. That doesn't happen very often. Usually you have one or the other. Usually you have like a pink ranger, you know, in place of one of these. So he has a big giant battle axe, which is really neat. And he has this shark. The shark theme going on there. Alright, so let's look at his card, his operator. We have erratic teleportation. At any time, you may discard 1 card from your hand to move your figure to an outer location of your choice. You may use this ability in battles you are not participating in. So yeah, this is kind of cool. So what he does is he gets to basically move around the board. So we're going to look at this rules here quick. So Ziggy Grover has a number of effects allowing him to join or leave battles. Move his figure accordingly when resolving his effect. If Ziggy's figure is no longer in the same location as a battle after resolving one of these effects, he is no longer considered to be participating in the battle. If Ziggy was the last participant, the battle ends immediately. And then Tail Spinner, which is his Zord, can be used when a ranger enters or leaves a location during a battle. This includes when a ranger is defeated in battle or inside of the command center, but not when the last participating ranger leaves. So it can't be used when they leave because then there's no battle anymore. This is kind of neat, yeah, right? He just gets to kind of teleport on. Also, you notice he has like gears around his arms instead of the wheels, so he gets a little bit different theming. But yeah, this is kind of he's kind of a funny, interesting kind of the goofball character of the series. Although they'll have their own moments. But yeah, so you can either move your figure to an outside location. So you can either leave the current battle in, like, hey, I'm not, like, hey, we're gonna survive this, or we're gonna lose this, or whatever. You know, get out there, go to the next battle, start jumping over, helping those guys, or you can be like, that battles are going on, they need my help. You can then discard to jump over there. So that's a really fun, interesting mechanic. So we're gonna start off with 2 copies of Chansey Chop. It's really fun that they brought this back, because this is from the Balkan Skull set. So I love when they reprint some of these cards, because instead of it being a Karate Chop, it's using his axe. So 0 cost, 2 shield, attack for 2 dice. Before rolling, choose evens or odds. If the number of hit results you roll matches your choice, gain energy, and return this card to your hand instead of discarding. So bare minimum is 2 dice. You have a potential chance to gaining energy and getting this card back into your hand to reuse. So it's a chance, kind of neat. But yeah, it's really fun. Plus we're gaining extra energy, which is really well with the other Rangers so far. We have 2 copies of Sneak Attack. 0 cost, reaction with 2 shields. Play this card after another Ranger performs a maneuver to immediately perform an attack with 2 dice. Neat. So we have some other maneuver stuff. Now, imagine playing this with the Blue Ranger where you had just 1 card. Says you play 1 card, now you can play a maneuver. Now somebody else can play a maneuver, and then now you could potentially then link this into that as well to get an extra attack for 2 dice. So there's some fun stuff there. We have 2 copies of Trickster, 0 cost reaction with 1 shield. Play this card when any ranger reveals a card for defense. That ranger may swap the revealed card with another card in their hand. Interesting. So that's kind of cool. So that's a neat way to, like, a neat defense card. So if, like, you reveal a card and there's one shield, you can swap it for a card in your hand. For a two-cost shield. I wonder how well that would work with Fling's defense cards, right? Because they say, yeah, when revealed for defense, technically I think they would be revealed for defense, so then you can even put his blue cards back in his hand. So that's a cool little mechanic there. 2 copies of Warped Strike. 1 cost, 3 shields, and 1 star. Attack for 1 dice plus 2 hits. If this card is revealed for defense, add it to your hand instead of placing it on the bottom of your deck or discarding it. Then move your figure to an outer location of your choice. So this is a double-edged sword. Because if you use it for defense, it's definitely going to help protect you, but then it also moves you out of the battle. So it keeps you alive, but then it pulls you out so you can't use your character anymore. So you really have to be very cautious. But if we had his other card sitting around, like, oh, I don't want to leave, you could swap this for this one and then gain it as an attack instead. So it's kind of cool. His signature weapons, the Turbo Axe, 3 cost, 3 shields, attack for 4 dice. You may place this card in any battle. You may play this card in any battle regardless of location. Move your figure to the location of that battle. If you're already in that location, add 2 dice to this attack instead. So that's cool, right? You play this card in any battle regardless of location. So you can just jump to somewhere else, that warp thing, and then play his Turbo Axe to come swinging back in. Or if he's already there, he gets 2 extra dice. So that's a really interesting little combo there. And then we have the Nitro Blaster. Alright, up next we have his Zord. So yeah, him and the Black Ranger have some interesting Zords. So they're one of these sets that have, their Zords are a little bit different. His is a motorcycle called the Tail Spinner. It's kind of neat. It spins around. It's a shark. But yeah, it spins around on the vehicle part. It's kind of weird. Exhaust this card when any ranger enters in a location during a battle. That ranger may drop the 2 cards and then deal an equal amount of hits to an enemy card of their choice. So this helps refresh someone's hand. If they're entering battle, it does extra damage. Obviously, Ziggy has a couple of cards that let him move around. The Phantom Ranger can move around as well, so they'd be a good combination to play some of these. But even it says, even if they go to the command center, right, you could use this. Someone dies and they faint, they can do that. I know there's at least 1 Zord that lets you move guys. But that might be before the battle. I'm not sure. I have to double check that. One of the Pterodactyl Zords might do that. But yeah, that's really a neat idea, neat mechanic there. Cool. Alright, then we have our last Ranger Operator Series Black. He's just Dylan. Doesn't have a last name. He's a mystery. And there he is. He's like, cool and confident. He's got them metal gears around his arms instead. And he gets the Wolf Zord. It's definitely cool. Alright, let's look at what he does. He's got a really interesting storyline where he's trying to find his sister the entire series. I really hope we get some of the villains from this series as well. I'm sure we will. We'll probably get a box set at some point. Defiant Defense. Once per battle, when any ranger reveals a card for defense, you may choose 1 card from your hand and remove it from the game. If you do, add 5 shields to that revealed card. So this is really cool. So he gets to remove cards from the game using this. That means you don't have access to them anymore, but 5 extra shields could be very powerful. If you're gonna die, removing a card for 5 shields is better. So Dylan has a number of effects that may remove cards from the game. When cards are removed from the game, this way set them aside, but somewhere they can be easily retrieved because his Defy Fate maneuver can return a removed card to the corresponding ranger deck. Cards that are removed from the game count for all effects that are based on removal cards, such as his Rocket Blaster or Final Vengeance Deletion Beam. That's nice because you finally have a character that can bring back some of those cards. Cards that have been removed but then returned do not count for such effects. Yeah, so once it gets returned, it's no longer considered to be removed. But that's nice. So yeah, if you choose one card, you can remove it from the game to boost up somebody else's shield, which pretty much protect anybody from just about any attack. So that's really a cool effect. He has 2 copies of Defiant Strike. 1 cost attack for 1 shield and 1 star. A lot of stars in this set, which I love. I love it. So they're in the Blue Ranger. I'm glad we have 1 in the green. We have at least 1 in the black here. I like when they have more of them in other colors. Attack for 3 dice. When this card is revealed for defense, choose a resolved enemy card and deal it the amount of damage hits equal to this card's shield value. So this is interesting. So normally you just reveal it and do 1 extra hit. Hey, you're already getting to play it. You get the defense, but now imagine combining it with this, right? Reveal this card, right? You reveal this. It's gonna do 1 damage. Also, you discard. Now it does 6 damage. You take out a resolved card with that. It might be definitely worth it. It's got 2 copies of Do or Die. 0 cost attack for 2 shields. Does 2 dice worth of damage. There was 2 Ranger Operator Series black cards are removed from the game, gain 2 energy. So this is neat because it works well with his ability only to remove cards, but then it gives you a reason to keep removing cards, so you can gain some extra energy off of these. We have 2 copies of Final Impact. X cost attack with special. 3 shields. For each energy spent to play this card, add 2 dice to this attack. After resolving this attack, remove the card from the game. This does fit very well with his theming of his character. He always tries to go off on his own. For like most of the series, he's like, I know I'm a ranger, but I can do this myself. I'm powerful. I'll go do this, handle this. I'm not gonna wait. We gotta remember the focus of the series is their city is under attack, and they're the last human civilization of Corinth. So they shouldn't be running out trying to play defense. And he's still trying to just always go off on his own. So he's also got 2 copies of Defy Fate. I love one thing they did with this, where that each ranger has a card with them in their unmorphed form. I wish every set did that. It's just kind of a neat little idea to kind of play up the fact that half the time they're not rangers. So 0 cost maneuver for 2 shields. Deal 1 hit to an enemy card of their choice. Then choose 1 combat card that is removed from the game. Return it to the top of the corresponding ranger deck. So yeah, you can get these. They're definitely going to be very helpful for letting you remove stuff and then coming back and finding them. You just gotta hope you can find these again. Alright, then we have Rocket Blaster. So it's a signature weapon. 3 cost, 3 shields, attack for 5 dice. For each Ranger Operator Series black card that is removed from the game, reduce the cost by 1 and add 1 die to this attack. So that's kind of neat, right? If you remove 3 of them, you also have a free attack for 8 dice. Plus, imagine, again, adding something like the Red Ranger's ability that 3 extra dice. Now you're talking 11 dice. 8, 9, yeah, 11 dice. 11 dice doesn't take anybody out, then you're really rolling terribly. And then we have the Nitro Blaster. Cool. Then we finally are going to get to his Zord, the Wolf Cruiser. She's like, yeah, it's a weird long day. I always thought it was kind of like a cop car almost, but it's probably just some sort of like a type of race car or casual car. Exhaust this card when any ranger reveals a card for defense. If that ranger has 3 cards or fewer in their deck, add 3 shields to the revealed card. Yes, it's a really good defense ability. Add an extra 3 shields. Plus, it works well with his first ability. Reveals a card for defense. You had 3 shields. As long as you have 3 or fewer cards and this is revealed. Also, you also do 4 extra hits. So that could be very helpful as well. So those are all really cool cards. Then we're going to jump in and look at the Megazords. So we get 2 of them in this set. We're going to first get the High Octane Megazord, which is the 3 main colors, the red, yellow, and blue, combined together. I feel yellow just becomes like the mid-torso, the stomach. It's just made up of the other 2 Zords. Exhaust this card at the end of any ranger's turn in battle. Gain 2 energy. The ranger then may take an additional turn after this one. Next time any ranger performs an attack in this battle, add 2 dice to that attack. That's crazy, right? 2 energy, an additional turn, and eventually 2 extra dice. Now, a little nuance to pay attention to. The next time performs an attack. So that additional turn does not have to be an attack card. You could play a maneuver if you wanted to instead. But then the next actual turn you can play an attack and gain the 2 extra dice. But that's pretty cool. So you can kind of spread it out how you need it. So that's a really neat idea. And then the other one we have is the Valve Max Megazord. Which I believe is the combination of the Wolf Cruiser and the Tail Spinner. Might also have a 3rd Zord mixed in there as well. I can't remember for sure. But it says, place 3 energy tokens on this card at the start of each battle. After any ranger plays a card, they may remove 1 energy token from this card to place the played card in the bottom of their deck instead of discarding it and drawing 1 card. That's kind of neat, right? So during the battle, you have 3 cards you can always place right at the bottom of your deck so you can get it back quicker. This can definitely work for extra shields in your deck. Hey, I played a good defense card that had good defense, but I played it as an attack card. Put it on your deck, gets it back in there, so you have more shields in there. Can work well with the Black Rangers, the 5/8. You play like the 5/8 card, put it back in your deck. Now you know right where it's gonna be. You can find it quicker. And then plus you get to draw a card, so you get an extra card back. So that's pretty cool. So they play a card, and they get a card back for it as well. So those are all really neat things. So yeah, the other thing I did want to mention, not part of this set, but we did have Dr. K as well from the previous expansion, so she can work. She actually works as a non-ranger. She kind of works like Alpha did, where she hangs out in the command center and does stuff from there. So it's kind of neat. She can replace one of the 5, or if you want to play a 6-player game, you can use the 5 rangers plus her as the 6th player with someone maybe controlling it. I love that as a fact they made another character like that other than just Alpha 5. Because that way, if you're maybe trying to teach the game, even if you're playing like a 3-player game, right? Or 4-player game, have like other new people or your kids or whoever you're playing with play as the Rangers. You can have your experienced player, you can kind of sit back and play as a beneficial character. Just kind of neat. Then the other thing I did want to also point out is from that set, she had the Project Goanger, which was any RPM Ranger can use. So I just want to see how well that worked with their stuff. Since it exhausts this card at any time, any ranger may choose 1 card of their discard pile, shuffle it back into their deck, and then draw up to 5 cards. So again, very support teamy thing. This would work really well for them guys getting their cards back, and redrawing their hand. So that's really cool there. Alright, so that's all we had for the RPM Rangers pack. So we're going to go ahead and look at the Forever Red expansion. But first, we're going to look at this. We have this cool first player token. It's the Mighty Morphin symbol. They just made it big solid metal coin. That's kind of neat. You just want that. It's a pre-order thing. I don't know if this will be available on their website or not, but if it is, it's up to you if you'd like to get it. It is definitely a neat little extra thing to have. But we're going to look at this Forever Red pack. Yes, this is a promo pack that allows you to customize the deck of any Red Ranger in the Power Rangers Heroes of the Grid game. Before you play, you may swap cards from your Red Ranger deck at a 1-to-1 ratio from cards from this promo pack with the exact same shield value. So you could trade a 1 shield for a 1 shield, 2 for a 2, or a 3 for a 3. And then it says, if multiple copies of a card exist in your Red Ranger deck, you may swap all copies or swap only some while keeping others. So this is also really neat because like your signature weapons have 3 shields. You could trade that 1 card for one of these cards with the 3 shield. Or you could take one of your 2-cost cards. So like right here we have Redline Slash, which has 2 shields. I could trade out both of these for brand new cards with 2 shields. Or I could keep one of these and trade in another one. So it's kind of neat because normally you have 4 duplicate cards in your deck. You have your signature weapon, your team weapon or item, and then you have 4 other cards and you have 2 duplicates. So now you can actually swap out one of each of them and make your entire deck have completely different cards now. So it's a really neat mechanic. So each of these cards have 2 copies. So we're going to go ahead and look through all of these. So you have 2 copies of Commanding Strike. Here we got the Red Ranger with his Dragon Shield even. So this has a 2 shield one. This is right here, any Red Ranger. So I kind of hope that at some point they make these for some of the other characters as well. I know we've had Forever Pink, and I think we've had Forever Blue. And there may have been, with the comic book stuff too as well, there may have been a black. I don't know if there's ever been a team of yellow. I could definitely see them trying to do a pack for each of the 5 colors, even if they're just taking cards kind of existing from all of them. I don't know if you get anything outside of that. For like, green might have enough characters as well. And then after that, it kind of starts to drop down to whether there be enough different things to do it for. But here we have 0 cost, attack for 2. If you're the lead ranger, another ranger may immediately play 1 card after resolve this attack. Otherwise, add 1 dice to this attack. So that's neat, either a free attack or an extra die on this. So kind of whichever way works. We have 2 copies. Again, we have 2 copies of all of these, so I'm not going to keep saying that. Dramatic Finish. So yes, we have Turbo, Space, Wild Force, Light Force, Galaxy Ranger, Time Ranger, Quantum Ranger, Zeo. Definitely pretty cool. 1 cost reaction, 3 shields. Play this card after the last Ranger turn in battle. The Rangers may take an additional turn. That's actually pretty fun, right? You get to the end, you're like, oh, we only need to do 2 more damage. Boom, now you can do this. So this might be one you only want to include 1 in your deck, because it's only going to be useful for that 1 time. So having 2 copies, yes, you'll find it easier, but it's not going to help you the rest of the time. We have Forever Red. There's even a bunch more other Rangers. I'm not going to go through all of them. I love, though, that it's all these Rangers and Psycho Red up here as well. That just makes me laugh. 2 cost maneuver for 3 shields. Until the end of this battle, each time a Ranger performs an attack, they may reroll any number of dice during that attack. Nice. So yeah, until the end of this battle, so that works for the entire thing. So this is a great one to play right off the back. Heroic Resolve. This is neat. I don't know the name of this Ranger, but this was part of... I can't think of the name of the group. This is the Sentai series that was part of the one that the White Mighty Morphin was from. So yeah, kind of cool. This might be a hint that maybe they're going to release these guys as a set in the future. That'd be pretty cool as well. 0 cost reaction for 1 shield. Play this card after any ranger rolls dice outside of an attack. Convert all zeros or misses or hits to a double hit result. Rolls dice outside of an attack. I can't think of too often when people are doing that, but again, there's probably enough characters that this is relevant. Or it might be a hint at what maybe some of their abilities might do in the future. Here we have one for all. 0 cost attack with 2 shields. There's 1 die and 1 hit. Next time any ranger performs an attack during this battle, add as many dice to that attack as you rolled for this attack. Cool. So you get some extra dice in there. Anytime a ranger performs an attack during this battle, as many dice to attack you rolled for this. It's normally only rolling 1, but if you have other cards that let you boost extra dice on here, also then now the next attack gets extra 1 as well. We have Red Strength, 0 cost reaction, 1 shield. Play this card when any ranger adds dice to another ranger's attack, add 2 additional dice to that attack. Yeah, so imagine combining that with this, right? So you have someone played something, boost up dice to this, right? So this gets extra dice. Then play this reaction, adds dice to this, add an additional 2 dice. So you have 1 die plus 2 plus whatever the additional is. And then the next card also gains a bunch. So some good good combos with even these guys. We have Rising Power. Attack 3 dice. If you're the lead ranger, return this card to your hand. Otherwise, instead of discarding it, otherwise, gain the lead ranger token. If you're the lead ranger, return this card to your hand. Otherwise, become the lead ranger. That's kind of neat. So you can force the red ranger to like take the leadership token, which works with some other cards if they have them. We saw one earlier. But it also could work on Nemesis cards that focus on whoever the lead ranger is, or villain cards. That's pretty cool. I'm going to drop these down really quick. We have Stand Together, 1 cost reaction, 2 shields. Play this card when any ranger suffers damage. Reduce that damage by an amount equal to the number of rangers in this battle. So neat. A good shield card, but it's going to be better if you have more characters with you. One with the red emissary on it. That's pretty fun. It's constantly changing between different things. We have Dino Fury and Mighty Morph in there at least. The bottom of the legs are possibly Turbo? I could be wrong. 0 cost reaction, 1 shield. Play this card at the start of a battle. All rangers in other locations may use their once per battle abilities this battle. That is sweet. That's a pretty cool effect. And then we have United Strike. 3 costs, special attack is kind of like a special weapon for them. 3 shields. Each ranger in this battle may discard 1 card from their hand with an energy cost of 1 or 0. This card's attack value is equal to the number of combined attack values of the discarded cards. That's kind of cool. So yeah, it's going to be up to how many rangers are in battle and how many you can afford to do. So it could be 1, could be 2, could be up to 5, potentially 6 if you're playing with 6 rangers. So that's really neat. So we got 1 card with 3. I'm just curious how many we have of each level, right? So we have 2, 3. So we have 3 cards with 3 shields in them. So we have Dramatic Finish, Forever Red, and United Strike. 1, 2, and 3 costs. Kind of fun there. For 2, it looks like we have 4 different options. So we have Commanding Strike, 1 for All, Stand Together, and Rising Power. So some 0s and some 1s. And then for 1, we have Heroic Resolve, Red Strength, and Together as 1. So we have 3 1 shields, 3 3 shields and 4 2 shields. Now, again, I'm sure one question will probably come up was, could I just replace every single card in my deck and make a Red Ranger Forever pack? Yeah, go ahead. There's nothing stopping you. You can also use it potentially with the Legacy mode as well, where you could make a Forever Red / Legacy deck, where you could then have some cards of these, some cards from multiple different Red Rangers, have multiple different Red Ranger cards out, so you could do like Mighty Morphing, Red Ranger. Then you could have RPM Red Ranger, and then Dino Charge Red Ranger from the other set we're gonna get. From the other side here, you can even have them mixed with some of these. You can have multiple character abilities. There's lots of different stuff. I really hope that they make these. I'd say it'd be awesome if they did it for every color. I could definitely see the main 4 colors. We have red. I could see blue, yellow, and pink, because they're in almost every single series. I could see green as well, because green ends up and black. Red, we got red. We got blue, yellow, black, and pink. I could see green as well, because green ends up replacing black a bunch. So I could see 4 other decks there, or 5 other there, the other colors. I think then the next ones that kind of become possible is there are a few purple Rangers, there's a few white Rangers. The problem is there's not a lot of guys classified always in blue or white. And some of them are just the models are painted that. And that's the other thing you have to take into consideration. These are Red Rangers, so only include characters that say Red Rangers if you're playing with the actual rules. So like Santa, for example, it's my first thought off the top of my head. It's a model that is red. It is not technically a Red Ranger. The same thing would be as if you start doing the other colors. Like if you did black, you wouldn't be able to include Dragon Zord Trini or Phantom Ranger or Magna Ranger, because they're not technically black Rangers. But again, that's if you are using the actual rules. But yes, it's a game. Do what is fun for you, and what works for you. Alright, so that is our Forever Red pack. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. You're enjoying the Power Ranger unboxings. If you'd like to see anything else, you'd like to see different combinations of characters, you need to go back and like compare all the Red Rangers together, compare all the Yellow Rangers, do videos like that. Let me know in the comments if there's something else you'd like to see. See you guys later. Bye.